What is going on YouTube? It is Jake coming at you with another video where we're talking about computer science. Today, I wanted to give a walkthrough of a recent React app I made called Project Star. Those who have been to the channel for a long time know that I originally made this website in Go, and it was very different looking. I completely remade the entire web app essentially using Figma and all that jazz. The reason being, at work, I've been using more like Node, more JavaScript frameworks for making enterprise applications, and so I figured I'd just give it a go since I've been doing that at work and do that on my own personal website, essentially. This is pretty much a portfolio website. It's something that I could put on a business card, something that I could just give to someone and they would have a way of, contacting me as well as seeing the things that I do. So, we open up this web page, super clean design. It wanted to be simple when you first go to it. Shining light on code, that's the motto of the channel, obviously. Software engineer, network engineer, and computer scientist with a little action button right here, as well as a card with a nice little glass morphism shadow effect. Y'all watch the reel if you haven't not yet of how to do that. So we click on learn more. We can see the content that we have, two links really here if you want to go to the YouTube channel, or if you want to go to the blog. So I can click here and see my Medium. I can do the same for, StarCoding, but y'all are here. Y'all are already watching it. Congrats. We have an about page. This needs some work. This was obviously version 1. You can't really I didn't want to take the time to make this super special because it can be super special, but for the most part, you got this like little floating orb, which was kind of fun to make. Gives it that 3D effect, and this guy kind of pops out at you when you hover over them. We got some cryptographic, blah, 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 offensive security. So just, outlining what it is I like to do and what it is like I could do for you. And we finally have a contact page where if someone wanted to hit me up and wanted me to, make something for them on the business side, they would have a way to, type in a name, last name, email, and submit it, and I would get an email saying this is what they want, and I could, do what I have to do with that. So this is the web page, but let's dive into how's the implemented so that way y'all can all learn. Obviously, before you start, we're going to need some prerequisites. Node.js, you're going to need to install the React framework, and then, a code editor of choice to actually start coding in. For me, it's Visual Studio Code. It's lightweight. I love it. It's beautiful. But I'm pretty sure those 3 things are the baseline what you need. You're also going to need a terminal to actually start it up. Luckily here, we can just start up a new terminal, and it's as easy as that. So, starting at the top of our directory, at the top of our React project, we have a Readme. This is just the default Readme that comes with any React application. It kind of just tells you how to start it, as well as test and build your application using these commands, and MD, the superior way of documentation, as well as, our package.json, all that jazz that has our data, git ignore, yada yada, env. With our secrets, if you ever have secrets, you're going to want a .env file. We're not going to look in there because there are some API secrets, obviously. But we have our public and our source. This is really what we're going to be, looking at. And I'm pretty sure when you start and build a React app, it kind of just falls like this normally. And so if we look into our public folder, this is going to have all of our assets, all the static assets that we really don't care about. Just all the, icons that appear in the browser. If this was an app on your phone, if it's a web frame that's appearing when I copy and paste a link somewhere, all these are pre-configured, depending on what application shows the icon. And then we have our images up here, all the assets that are used throughout our web app. Very cool. And for me, I was using Figma to make this app, and sometimes it's just easier to copy the thing that you made as an image instead of copying it as CSS for those front-end developers that know. So some of it's in CSS, some of it's just an image that we are displaying stuff on. Very cool, very cool. So that's the public, nothing special there. We go into a source, and this is where the real, how are we going to map our application out in a hierarchy. For me, I'm not sure if CSS should go into the public or if it should go into the source. When I put CSS in public, it was like freaking out with the mapping. So I was like, okay, if you're gonna freak out, we'll just do it the easy way and put the CSS in the source. Y'all let me know in the comments if that is a good idea or not, but it works. That's what matters. We have components, which is going to be some buttons, some cards, some just random things, as well as our nav bar. That we want to make it modular so that way it looks clean as can be as we go down the hierarchy, which is what's so fun with React with those templates, man. We also have our pages, all the pages that we're going to be displaying. There was an about page, a content page, and a contact page that we saw. There was also a home page, but I believe it is chilling in the components. That could probably be moved over now that we're doing this video, but hey, it is what it is. Yeah, we'll make a git change later. So when we start at our application, obviously we start at the index.js. And so here, nothing crazy. The only thing that I, could say that is unique here is that there is a browser router that wraps the entire application. This is how, React handles the router as I navigate between page and page. If I didn't have that browser router, the page would actually just refresh and there would be a millisecond of white before each page load, and that was driving me crazy. And after some, looking up on the YouTubes and on the interwebs, a browser router is really nice. It's only going to re-render things that actually need to be re-rendered, and it's not going to re-render things that don't need to be. So, if I go to the home page, this nav bar doesn't need to be re-rendered. The background image doesn't need to be rendered. The only thing that needs re-rendering is the contents. And so that's exactly what it does. So it looks super clean. It feels nice. So going from our index.js, we're gonna go into our app. And again, it's a hierarchy structure. We want to make it as neat as possible before getting into the nitty-gritty HTML that's going to be in there. And so all that we have really is a body tag with a container to keep everything a little more pinched together so it's not all the way onto the screen. It might just be my style, but the container kind of puts a little buffer here between the end of the screen. It could go all the way if you wanted it to, but your eyes can only look so far, so it kind of, keeps it together. So that's what that container is doing. A nav bar, this is going to render on every page, so it can be in the app setting. And basically here, based on the route, based on what is being navigated to, will determine what component gets rendered. And so if you're at the, backslash, that's obviously the home page. /about, you're at the about page, yada, yada, yada. Makes sense. This guy could probably be lowercase, but it is what it is. So let's look, home. This is where the fun begins. Obviously, nothing crazy here. Essentially just a bunch of HTML using materialized CSS, which, I love it so much, but I'm pretty sure it's now being deprecated. I don't think it's been, touched in about a year now, so I might need to start switching my CSS framework. But here we can, we have rows, and essentially there's with using materialize, there are 4 different types of displays. There's a small, which is a mobile device. It's going to be less than 700 pixels wide. There is a medium device, which is a tablet. There's a large device, which is pretty much a laptop screen, and there's also an extra large, which is a regular 1920 by 1080p monitor, essentially. We just have some hard-coded text here, a couple primary buttons, but this is the nitty-gritty part of that. So next we have the about. Nothing crazy here, just a bunch of more HTML that's getting thrown onto the page. Again, going to that nitty-gritty structure. We go back here, the content. Nothing crazy here. There actually is going to be a couple of variables, and that way I could reuse this content card. If we look back at the content, this is pretty much identical. So why have redundant code when we could just make one content card and make a bunch of data? That's why having this in JavaScript was so nice. I could just, make some variables up here, and then call them below. If I was using just a static HTML, CSS, and JavaScript static website, I'd have to make, all these different objects. So it kind of saved me a little bit of time there, and I can just give a couple variable names. Last but not least, we have the contact page. This page I definitely spent my most time on. The main components we have here is a header, a card, and a submit card. If we look at that page, you can see we have our header, our card, and our submit card. So, the contact, the header and the card, nothing was crazy there. That was just, static HTML. But the submit card is actually making a request to a backend API. And that meant that, we actually had to do some things. This is a outdated comment that can be deleted, all good. But we have to be able to send an email. And so we have a backend that we can talk to that's hosted on Azure. It's using a code secret that is in that env file, and then there's also some variables that are going to get attached onto it. And how that happens? Well, we have our form. It is right here, just chilling. And essentially, once it is clicked on, once it's submitted, there should be an onSubmit handler that calls function onSubmit. And so we go to the onSubmit file. This just means, hey, wait until this is actually loaded. Just a little check handler. But then we're going to asynchronously call and say, hey, make a call to the backend, and based on that request, we're either going to type in awesome, the message was sent successfully, or the message failed to deliver. And that pretty much is going to wrap up how this application was built. Again, that was just a quick walkthrough of the hierarchy structure of my React app. I hope that instead of making videos of me making it individually, like just one video showing how it all came together, makes a little bit more sense and saves you a little bit more time. So thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thanks.